Assalamu alaikum ji, I am Muneeb Nawaz, and today I think I have one of those interviews lined up for you guys here at Daftar Khan that I am personally slightly excited and nervous about, and I have done quite a bit of these interviews, but I know that this one's something that I've been looking forward to for so many years. I'm meeting somebody who's not only a personal icon and an idol for me, but somebody who has shaped one of the reasons why I became a little bit of the designer that I am, and her work has just been super inspiring. So I don't even want to introduce her because she is right here. Ma'am Seema Aziz, thank you so much for gracing us, and it is an honor finally getting to talk to you.
Thank you so much for asking me.
It's awesome. Okay, tell me, I'm just going to dive straight into it. When you were starting this journey of getting into this market and selling a product and doing things, what was going on in your mind at that time? I want you to go back just a few years because it was like yesterday that you started your journey. So tell me, what were you thinking?
This yesterday is 40 years ago.
Just about.
So it wasn't planned. Awesome. I got married right out of college, before the convocation actually, and had 2 children at that time. It was really my brother who needed to do something in life. He came back from, getting an education and what do I do? And so it arrived at, so my father had worked for a multinational all his life, and at retiring or close to that, he just bought these 3 Swiss embroidery machines. I don't know, they're large ones. They're like 20-yarders or 15-yarders, and they were making the same product, which is the local chicken, and that had been going on for a while. And then when my brother wanted to do something, and we said, okay, what should we do? And so the one idea was that we should create a product. Look at the machines we have. It's the same as the Swiss, and look at what we make and what the Swiss are making. So we should create a product equal in quality to the best in the world, made in Pakistan.
Awesome.
That was the only thing. That's all we were trying to do. And my father was really, really upset. Everyone around said, "You're totally mad. How are you ever going to create quality in Pakistan?
Awesome.
And if you actually do, how are you ever going to sell it?" Because at that time there was no Pakistani brand. The concept of quality didn't exist. Anything which was expensive and desirable, or beautiful and desirable, was foreign, imported or smuggled, however.
Yes.
So that's how we started. That was the only concept.
And within that, I think you've laid out so many foundations of what a good business plan should be. Just a little bit of resource, then there's the purposefulness, what is not happening, and somebody calling you mad. I think those are, if your business idea isn't mad, then you shouldn't be doing it. I think that's awesome. So that was 1985.
That was, 1984, I guess.
Okay.
It took us a whole year.
Okay.
We had to tweak everything, find better fabric, create better fabric. Pakistan, I don't know whether, obviously you don't know, I don't know whether you were around at that time or not, but there was no Pakistani brand, not even a long time after we started. So no quality fabric and nothing. And then first to get the fabric tweaked, then I still remember going to various units to say, we want dyes which won't fade, which won't run, and everyone thought that was a joke. How do you make dyes which won't fade, or on cotton especially? So we ended up actually at the end paying more to get a yard of fabric dyed, and you could buy a yard of fabric in the market cheaper than we were paying to dye it. But that was one thing we were very sure of. It had to be just the right quality. And then of course we had to tweak the machines to get out of them the right quality. It took us like a year, and by the time, and there was no resource, by the way. Neither one of us has money. No. So the money, it's not like anyone funded us. Nobody said, my father said, "You're mad, totally mad." So however, we put together the money, and we said, how are we going to sell it? If we make this product which is so different to whatever else the market is making. So since we had no money, we got this we found this basement shop. A new plaza was coming up in Shadman Market. We wanted to be in Shadman Market because that's where all the women, everybody went to buy expensive clothes. That's where they went to buy, products that were desirable. So there was a new plaza coming up, and we got a basement shop. That's all we could afford. It was really tiny, and it, by the time that shop got ready, we managed to get our act together. We started creating product, and took us a while. Lot upon lot was ruined. If you're trying to get things to perfection. And then finally we opened shop on the 6th of April, 1985, in that little basement store with no advertising, and through word of mouth. And people started coming, and so that's how we started.
How did people start coming, and what were like the initial sort of like problems that you were facing in terms of, because this had not been done? I'm assuming was TJ's around at that time, or TJ's was after you?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
What else was in the market at that time?
So what were the problems you were facing externally? Like internal problems you can manage. The external problems are difficult to kind of predict and to manage.
So some of the things, right. Before we opened, so when we got the shop ready and hadn't yet put product into it, so a lot of the people from the surrounding stores came, ऊपर से देख रहे हैं नीचे, पूछा इधर क्या बेचेगा, ये क्या दुकान? It was totally different to anything that, any sort of, the shop was built differently, we were going to serve differently. And anyway, and then when we said, ये हम पाकिस्तानी कपड़ा, ये made in Pakistan है, they said, पूछा कौन खरीदेगा मेड इन पाकिस्तान? हमें वेरियस ऑफर्स आई कि हम सारे पे मेड इन जापान की, मेड इन फ्रांस की मोहरें लगा लेंगे और फिर बेचेंगे तुमसे, ये पाकिस्तानी कपड़ा नहीं बिकेगा यहाँ. So we were absolutely young and crazy, and we said, हम गज पे मेड इन पाकिस्तान की मोहर लगाएंगे, नहीं बिकेगा तो put it in the center of the park and we'll burn it. But it taught us, and I'm only telling you this taught us. And so उस वक्त तो हमने जल्दी से we tried कि हर गज पे मेड इन पाकिस्तान की मोहर लगे. कोई मोहर फैल गई, कोई बह गई, but we learned. And so Barize, the fabric has no stamp on it. कोई नाम लिखा नहीं होता है, कभी भी नहीं, because we realized that मोहर लगाने से is copyable. And so we said that people must be able to judge the fabric by the quality when they hold it. So it's the quality was the hallmark, and the quality was the standard, and that's what we did.
And how soon after the first shop was your father okay with your madness?
So first shop, people started coming. It was so much fun, just by word of mouth, and whatever. And soon पहले तो लोग कहते थे ये पाकिस्तानी नहीं है. पाकिस्तानी है तो अच्छा, अगर पाकिस्तानी अब तो ये क्वालिटी बहुत अच्छी है. Then they said पाकिस्तानी है तो इतना महंगा क्यों है?
I love that.
And then we got a reputation. We found out after a while कि ये एक दुकान है, वो कपड़ा बेचते हैं import करके, उसे made in Pakistan कहते हैं.
Nice.
And so, all sorts of these stories kept going around. But soon, by the time Eid came along or whatever, so it was like we couldn't, there were lines outside, and we couldn't make as much as we could sell. And so we had to increase machines, and then we thought of, within a year, I think we made the shop in Liberty Market, or no, the first one in Islamabad, then in Liberty Market, and then maybe 2 years later or even less, we took an exhibition to Karachi.
Wow.
The exhibition was going to be in a hotel for, I think, 2 days. And we sold out on the first day, and everyone was fighting over the last piece.
Nice.
That's happened at every exhibition. The last piece, 2 women have it, and everyone wants it.
Nice.
We called home from Karachi and said, whatever else other stock is there, please send it.
Nice.
And extended the exhibition. But yeah.
So this is what I'm most interested in as for personal learning as well. But you know, that scaling part, like how were you able to manage the scaling so quickly? And what was the mindset like? Because was scaling coming to you almost naturally? What was the mind thinking? What was the heart thinking? It's just going to happen, or you were going to make it happen, and this is still going to be successful because there are costs involved. There are, you know, other unpredictability of the market. What were you thinking along those
Don't
lines?
think we were thinking at all.
That is the biggest lesson, I think, for
We
anybody
weren't-
who's learning.
Yeah, honestly.
Don't think.
No, we weren't thinking. See, we're not a business family. We weren't calculating.
Awesome.
It was the dream was bigger. I mean, it was like a madness. Think about it. We'll make a product equal in quality to the best in the world made in Pakistan. How will you sell it? Where will the money come from? And it was just, we weren't thinking or worrying at all. It was natural. You know, when that first shop, we couldn't, we couldn't stock it fast enough. So we made the second one, and the result was the same. In Karachi, it was, so money just kept happening. Honestly, I can't answer that question. We didn't
No, but
borrow.
you did.
We
You know,
did
that's
nothing.
the best answer because,
We just-
yeah, I've gotten so many such stories from people who've made it. They're like, you know, as long as you're thinking, you're always doing what the first thing comes to your
Yes,
mind.
yes.
If you start thinking, you'll just keep thinking.
You'll keep
When you
stop.
start doing,
Yeah.
you stop thinking. So-
Thank you for that. I never thought of it like that. We just kept doing it. It was so exciting. The journey was so exciting. We'd created, so for us, it was pure cotton. Pure cotton was the dream. And we said in Pakistan, that's the only fabric to
That
really
is
wear.
truly ours, yeah.
And in many places, Karachi, other places, there were older people who came and said, you know, were very grateful, said, thank you for giving us cotton. They'd been
Yes.
wearing American Georgettes and all these viscose garments. Look at our weather.
Yes.
It has to be pure cotton. So we were a pure cotton enterprise for the longest time, but we just kept growing. It was just an excitement. There was no plan behind it. There was
That is
not
awesome. If you want to plan, you keep planning, otherwise
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
doing. That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that market, you know, again, people keep saying that Pakistan's a male-dominated market, this, that, yabba dabba do. And I feel there are so many great examples of women creating products and brands that have broken the ceiling so many times in this country. What is your take on that front before we move on to the other?
I don't know. I'm gender agnostic. Honestly, it's a man's world, that's for sure.
Okay.
Pakki baat hai. But it never bothered me. I'd never thought about it, that I was the only woman out there. And no, I guess I'm just gender agnostic.
just
I just went along.
It's basically this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's with my eyes wide open, and it just didn't bother me. And many people ask this question. I'm saying, I think I had a huge critical advantage being a woman in a man's world, because that's truly correct.
That's
I think I
marketing
was
differentiation right there.
It was not a path less traveled. I really believe it was a path not traveled. I mean, I didn't meet for the longest time. Then we launched in 85. Of course, we started working 84 onwards, however, to get everything, tweak everything, and whatever. And so it wasn't like there was any guidance or any model that we were following. It was nothing.
Nice.
It was just pure innovation. And there was no path that we had to follow, no script that we had to. So
You
we
wrote
just
your own
kept
script.
going.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's been a really fun journey.
So
Yeah.
when you now look back at the last, somewhat 40 years, when did you start defining it for it to be beyond passion? Has that time come to you, or are you still running it like with the same heart, the same gut, the same instinct rather than
Pretty
creating?
much.
That
I
is
enjoy
awesome.
it exactly
That
as
is
much.
awesome.
And I have gone around the world saying, honestly, I know my absolute belief, business is not about making money. Business is about creating a great product or creating a great service. Things that sometimes people don't even know they need. The market doesn't know it needs.
Yes.
Money will follow. I don't know, for me that was how it was, and It
That-
still is.
I think-
and
Yeah, great businesses always formed on principles other than money.
Yes, it can never be about making money. Not when you're wanting to do something as exciting as create a new product or, which a lot of people do, and like yourself, to design things. It can't be about, it has to be for things bigger than money.
So, what was or what is still your metric of success personally and for your organization?
Oh God, these are difficult questions.
Huh?
So metric of success, of course, then we continued. We made, I think created another brand. We started a leisure club very early on, because based on the belief, everyone said, ये खुला कपड़ा कितनी देर बिकेगा? ये तो अब तो ready to wear का ज़माना है, तो ये ready to wear के brand शुरू कर दें. और लेजर क्लब किया, फिर मिनी माइनर्स, बिकॉज बहुत शौक था छोटे बच्चों के, बिकॉज हम एम्ब्रॉयडर्ड थे, दे वर परफेक्ट फॉर लिटिल गर्ल्स फ्रॉक्स, एंड सो क्रिएटेड मोर ब्रांड्स, एंड आई थिंक वी हैव मोर देन 580 पॉइंट्स ऑफ सेल around the country today. Wow. Then of course took the brand
Teach me.
No, and then it was soon 93, 94 we said Pakistani brand has to go to abroad. There's no Pakistani brands in the Middle East or anywhere. Everything is, from lots of foreign brands, but no Pakistani. So we took it to Dubai. We opened our first store in Dubai in 94. And then went on Abu Dhabi and Sharjah, and that was very exciting too. Very, very exciting. We had a great response there too. And so we just kept growing, adding more brands, doing all the things that we wanted to. I started Home Expressions and Chenier, which is just the ready-to-wear part of it. And what else? We've done a lot of things in Barize Man, of course.
Yes.
Which is part of the whole.
The big brand group.
Yeah.
Okay, so all I'm picking up is still the exciting and the little girl inside you still roaming free in the big market and saying, oh, I got this candy and I got that candy and I'm going to sell this candy to other people who might not even want it, but I'll make it so cool that it'll have fun. Do you ever feel the pressure of expanding or scaling a business, any of your brands? That this needs to be done, or was it like a natural whim that, okay, let's take this to the UAE, let's take it to the US or wherever?
It was just a natural. There's never been what would the pressure be? I mean, explain.
Okay, so basically when the pressure is primarily in the head, where you're like, oh, I have to do this because this is how it has to be done. But when you are doing it with sort of like a heart, you feel like, it will happen. And that's what I want to sort of learn to unlock for the people who are learning to scale their businesses, that they keep thinking that this has to be done. And what is your sort of like key on breaking free from that thought?
So we had no roadmap. Do you realize that retail in Pakistan is as old or as young as Barize?
Yes.
It was the beginning of retail, and for many, many years, there was nothing else. And until, other than copies.
Yes.
And people, who caught on, and some brands opening a store 5 doors away from us everywhere and just copying exactly what we were doing. But honestly, there was no retail. And then so like if you're saying take it abroad, it had never been done before. So there was no roadmap. So I guess that's where the freedom comes from.
I think so.
Since we were the first business of our kind, the first brand of Pakistan, and the beginning of retail, honestly, I mean, if I'm making a mistake other than the shoe brands, I know that there was no other brand in Pakistan. And so we just had a path of our own. Nobody to follow, no rules to go by, no competition to do better than.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's been it's an exciting journey for that purpose.
And so I think the freedom also comes from the fact that there was no cage for you to break out of.
No, basically. That's it. There was nothing. No targets.
There were no markets defined. There was no sales target. There was nothing.
Nobody's there. We have to reach them. We have to get bigger than them, or we have to do better than them.
Okay.
No, nothing at all.
And has that changed after the invention of the retail market? Do you look at the other people's brands and say, okay, XYZ is doing this, ABC is doing this, and should we be doing that? And is that something that we need to be following?
In truth, not.
Awesome.
I'm sorry that I'm so removed from the
No, that is
reality of
awesome.
the
You see,
market.
that is the whole point of this.
So in
the
Barize,
freedom.
what I'm saying, we're following nothing. I do exactly, the brand as it stands, as was created and visualized, has been such a fun journey. And we're not competing for price in anyone. We're not competing
With
anyone.
product.
Not product, not in Barize at all.
Awesome.
And I pretty much don't think in any of other brands, the ready-to-wear maybe must be at sometimes looking to see what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
But no.
Okay.
And Barize, there's no roadmap no competition
if
that
I
we
may
follow.
ask, because I asked this to a lot of my CEO
Yes.
friends, what is your personal job description at work? Can you come up with that? Have you ever
Yes.
thought of that?
What's the job description of any CEO? You lead a brand. What's your job description?
No, I'm asking you. I'm learning today.
Okay. So, because this is a trick one. So I do, no, it's all very structured. We have now, so it's very
Obviously.
structured, it's very large. So otherwise I lead design definitely.
Okay.
And maybe lead retail also.
Okay.
And what else should I be leading?
Operations, finance, production.
Yeah, no, there's
Marketing.
everything's headed by people.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you have to oversee. I guess that's why I'm asking, what's your job description? All CEOs at the end of the day have to oversee. But we have structured departments for everything. Design, we have a lot of designers and lots of people who've been with us for many, many, many years. But I think that I oversee totally.
Nice.
For
Because every CEO has one particular department that they're like super excited about going to work for.
Retail too.
Yeah.
And everything actually. It's
Okay.
exciting. It's all part of a whole, you understand?
Yes, the feeling
Nothing
of
stands alone. You can't make a great product and then not be selling it right and expecting it to sell. So retail is a part of it, and then how the retail is trained or how the retail behaves, or production is a critical part. So I do a lot of the production, because so Barize, we're very particular about quality. We really believe, the rest of our ethos is not to take the customer for a ride ever. It's integrity of product and integrity to customers and true to our teams, and we're teams working together. There's no concept of anything else. So you do have to lead a lot of the teams, but there's people heading every
Okay.
every
What
part.
is your personal sort of leadership ethos like? Some people are slightly. I'm on the slightly stricter side of people when it comes, but some people are very, very compassionate. Some people have that sort of feeling. How do you kind of build that team that still carries your soul into, the machine and the operations at the lowest level?
So we're very strict about rules. We're very, very clear. Customer will never be taken for a ride. Bad product will never be made. We don't undercut on anything. Fabric will be the right quality. And I don't know if you've ever been to a Barize store,
I have.
but they are duty bound from day one. If there's a fault in the fabric, anything is wrong, dhage toote hain, mori hai, kharab hai, phata hai, which the customer can't see, they're duty bound to tell the customer, ye galti hai kapde mein, aap dekh ke lein, nahi to, we'll give you another piece. So it's stuff like that, and those things are ingrained. So maybe we try to look after our teams, and it's teams working. It's not a real concept of employees. I mean, it's a large team, very large, but we're very strict about the rules of behavior, of interaction, of product. So yeah, the two can go together, right? You can be very strict and so
and we were talking about competency. What is your take on the general sort of competency level of the workforce available in Pakistan? Because a lot of people find it slightly difficult to expand basically based on the human capital that is available.
I don't know.
Do you have a training?
We don't do a lot of training. Training is, we do and we don't. But like the retail training is just hands-on to start with, and then the teams keep growing, and there's not a lot of structured training. We have tried, and that works in many ways. But see, after a certain level, the human resource that you need is scarce, and you can't really find a lot of people for certain positions. But then you have to train that. Again, industry is younger in the country. It's not, not many generations of business anyway. So yes, there are problems, but you train along and people grow with you.
That is
and
awesome.
the people who've been there with you for long enough, those are real assets.
And I think the culture really kind of helps
Yes.
blending in with the
Yes.
performance levels.
And if there's enough people who stay with you for long enough, which we do, we're very, very lucky and have people from from many, many years with us, right from the beginning type. And so that really helps the culture to grow, and we talk about it, it's talked about all the time, but then if there are enough people who've been with you for a while, then it spreads anyway.
Nice.
But culture is important, and rules are important.
It is culture and rules. Now, from Barize, you very quickly also ventured into care.
Yeah.
And which is again one of those things that I think has pivoted Pakistan's landscape of what is now known as CSR. But I think you really outdid Pakistan, way ahead of your time and Pakistan's time. What was going on in your head when you were starting that? Matlab, that is one of the most inspirational stories ever. If it was just that would have been pretty awesome, but you've got this and that.
So there's no CSR in my heart and mind.
Obviously.
Okay, it's not corporate social responsibility. It's human. Well, anyway,
Yes.
It's how did we start? There was this terrible flood in 1988. There was a terrible flood. Is it before your time?
No, I was there.
Okay, but not old enough to know. But doesn't matter.
Yes, I read up though.
Okay, so there was a terrible flood, and thousands of villages got inundated. I think we tried to save the city of Lahore or something. They broke some sort of a band, and anyway, the destruction was huge. And the water was lapping the Ravi Bridge and whatever. You couldn't go out there to help without boats. Anyway, after a few days, when we could actually drive out in a high vehicle to the areas which were destroyed, and our factory was in the middle of some of that too, but that's irrelevant. So thousands of people were camped on the roads and in lots of trouble. So we thought, let's help, and with food and water and medicines, and we realized all that happens quickly. People are very, very generous here, and soon there were truckloads of food and medicines which were standing on the bridge and weren't needed anymore. But then we thought, let's help 10 families rebuild their homes. And so we put a word out, got lots of applications, maybe a few hundred, and random picked 10. What's your favorite number? 8 was. So random picked 10, and then we thought, we'll give them the money in installments, because people were hungry and in trouble, and we thought if we give the money together, they'll eat it up, and they need food more, and nobody will build homes anyway. So we gave the first installment of money to the 10 families that we'd random picked, stood on the land of their destroyed home, all mud homes, The mud homes in a flood, they just collapse. Nothing is left. Anyway, so when we went a week later to give the next installment, there were scores of people, and everyone was pulling at us and said, look at us, we've also lost everything. So we took on 10 more and ended up building about 80 homes. In that process, I realized I used to drive out every day, early morning, get into the car, drive across the Ravi, and be supervising the homes, and got totally attached. After 3-4 months, when everyone said, now we have to start doing our work again, I said, okay, I'll do that, but I can't let go of this. And so I became like a Pied Piper, because it must have been nearly a year, which, by the time we were done with all the homes that we needed to build. So वो बच्चे पीछे पीछे फिरते थे सारा दिन, और ये इलाके जस्ट लाहौर से 15 मील 20 मील बाहर, 15 मील बाहर, नई ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, नई सीवेज, नई इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, नई कुछ. तो बच्चे और औरतें मेरे पीछे फिरते थे, नंगे पाँव बच्चे, बहती नाकें, बुरी हालत, कोई कपड़े हैं नहीं हैं. सो एक दिन मैंने आई सेड टू द वुमेन, मेरे पीछे क्यों फिरते ने सारा दिन, और की करन. I said, school क्यों नहीं जानते? And they said, the school पे है कोई नहीं. तो क्या हुआ? So I don't know, it just hit me then and there. I said, you know, the poor and the illiterate, nobody listens to them. You don't have any rights, which book of rights you can't read. And I was saying, you know, they're the ones who've lost everything and they can't help themselves rebuild their homes. So a flood will come again next year and it'll take their homes away again. Will they look for someone like me to help them rebuild? Honestly, that was the exact conversation in my brain. And I said, I thought, and what's the difference between them and me? It's only an education, only an education. And so I said, have to open a school here. Came back and told everyone, I am going to start a school. And everyone said, everyone, friends, family, brother, you're totally mad. Pata nahi hai ki gareeb padhna nahi chahta. I said, nahi. I've spent so long working with everyone, and I know that everyone loves their children like we do, and everyone wants a better life for their children. School nahi hai to hamari galti hai. School to maine banana hai. Main banaungi, koi nahi aayega, to I'll be at peace. So anyway, someone sent me a note saying, I have this piece of land, you're doing great work, how can I help you? I said, zameen de de, maine school banana hai. So that, and I built the two schools, a boys and a girls. And then I read the curriculum. School kholne se pehle गवर्नमेंट का तो वो अच्छा नहीं था, तो मैंने कहा ये तो नहीं मेरे बच्चे पढ़ेंगे. तो फिर वो स्कूल ऐसे इंग्लिश मीडियम होगा, क्योंकि ये तो एक ज़बान एक कौम. तो करिकुलम अपना उठाया और जो भी बेस्ट स्कूल्स का. एंड देन ग्रेजुअली रियलाइज टीचर्स कोई नहीं है इलाके में. सो बिल्कुल कोई मैट्रिक पास ही नहीं था. बट एनीवे, सो देन आई सेड को एजुकेशन स्कूल होना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो लड़कियां बाद में लड़कियों को कोई मैथ और साइंस नहीं पढ़ाएगा. तो ऑफ कोर्स एवरीवन सेड बिल्कुल दिस इज़ अ मैड आइडिया, लोग चलाएंगे नहीं, दे लिंच यू. I said, they'll be really angry with you. How can you do this? And I said, no, I don't think anyone's going to be upset. And that's the truth. So school khula, हमने सब जोड़ा और मस्जिदों से ऐलान कर दिया. 250 बच्चा बाहर खड़ा था पहले दिन. And we started with our whole, however, hand pump with towels and people to, wash their hands and their faces. And anyway, started with the English medium and the co-education, and honestly, by the end of the year, word had gotten round, ek school hai utthe padhai hundi hai. We had 450 children next year and 850 the year after that. From that day to this, 1991, January 1991, we opened the doors of that first school. To date, no one has ever said, why are the schools co-education? The girls and boys went up to class 10, metric ho gaya, or within 5 years, because bade bacche chote sab aate gaye, and we kept double promoting children who could do really well. And so the whole village came to say ki hun tu college pa le. तो first time they said, I said नहीं, मैंने इतना ही करना है, अब नहीं. तो 2-3 हफ्ते बाद फिर सारे आए, तू कॉलेज पा ले, कुड़ियाँ ने कितने जाना है. I said, okay, you're right, I'm wrong. So we started FA, and honestly, girls and boys, from that day to this, we have schools everywhere, and nobody has ever said that why are the girls and boys studying together. Honestly, people are way more, I don't know, बहुत समझदार हैं, और कोई ऐसा मैंने तो देखा नहीं है वो माँ बाप जो बच्चियों को पढ़ाना ना चाहें या ज़रा भी रोकें.
And I think that right there is also one of the biggest lessons that needs to be out there in the public mindset. Yes. That this is not because they choose illiteracy, it's because we are unable to provide them enough education at different levels.
That's the truth. Can you think of a job for the illiterate? आप क्या नौकरी क्या करेंगे क्या जो पढ़ेंगे नहीं?
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking still, heartbreaking for me. So today, from that first school, today Care has 1,125 schools.
Mashallah.
And we have 3 lakh, 3.25 लाख बच्चे हमारे स्कूलों में इस वक्त enrolled हैं, हर वक्त enrolled हैं.
Nice. and you obviously have a lot of success stories already from these kids. And I have been to some of a couple of these schools myself, and I think this is one of the most fantastic organizations. So thank you for giving us that. Now, do you have like a goal in mind for CARE or Barize or yourself, or in fact all three of them separately?
I don't know. For me, for CARE, definitely, we realized earlier on that, you know, ये 2.5-3 लाख बच्चे एक वक्त हम कुछ भी उन्हें बादशाह बना रहे होंगे, मगर फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. And we wanted to have 1 million children at one time enrolled. I thought if we could do that, we'd be able to change the narrative of education in the country. But that's just before COVID. 2019, I put out this target for us that we're aiming to have 1 million children enrolled by 2020 or something, but of course the COVID years stopped that, and now too we just have just over 300,000, and that would be the dream, to be able to have many more children enrolled at one time, many more graduating out of the CARE system. We have about 10 to 12,000 children taking their metric exam from a CARE school every year, but just not enough.
So how has the support been externally? Like, and I'm just going to throw it out, the government and the other corporations, how have they been supporting you? I know the people who are supporting you, but what is the institutional level support that you've gotten or not gotten?
Okay, not from government at all, but...
Have you asked them for it? Have you asked the government for support one way or the other?
Can I tell you that it's in reverse? We adopted, government requested us, and we adopted 10 government schools in 1998. We've gone on to, we went on, every year we adopted a few more and then a few more. And no, in all those schools where many hundreds of thousands of children are studying in our adopted government schools, we have more than 300 in Lahore alone, and no money from government from there. It's all, in fact, it's the only case, I think, in the world, private money in public schools. We built more than 500 rooms in government schools and put in labs and libraries and furniture and chairs and tables and lights and fans and whatever. So please understand, our country and our children, our future. It's not about government. I know that it's government's duty to ensure that every child born in the country gets an education, but honestly, failing government in any which way, I feel the duty of each one of us to ensure that our children get the education which is their right. Because no country, every man, woman and child out there is Pakistan. And unless we're all empowered, and unless every one of our children is educated and empowered, how do you expect the country to move forward?
Bilkul.
And we have, it was friends and family to start with, and we have no money from any other, no agency money. We've never looked for it. We don't want it. And government, yes, but for now we haven't reached out. I don't think government gives money to NGOs.
Okay. As far as your personal sort of like source of like energy is concerned, where do you draw that from, and how do you kind of keep yourself incentivized on a personal level? Like, what is the personal goal? What is the personal ambition? And also the source of it. Like, what is your input? Where is your input coming from? I know the process, I know the output, but where is Seema Aziz's input coming from?
These are tricky questions. I've never thought about this. It's
exciting,
you create. So it's just exciting. The journey has been so much fun. It's so much fun creating great product. And then gradually you also feel, oh my God, so many people are connected to it, and we better do a good job so that. But it's really exciting. Creating new product, doing new things is very, very exciting. That's all I can say. Okay. And the education, oh my God, I don't know. It's every child. You need to see it.
The smile on their face is
it's precious. I can't understand it. How can we in this day and age 29 million children who have never been to school. I don't know, my heart breaks with everyone. And for the years now, CARE has been there for 35, 36 years, and forever I know I've stood up and said, show me one job for the illiterate, show me one job. When we started our business too, it was not even the guards will be, under metric, and no salesman can be under metric. So it's, it's just the human part. I don't know, it's our duty, my duty. I feel it's just a commitment.
And the duty is somewhere connected to some divinity, or are you thinking more social? Are you thinking
humanity?
To humanity.
To Allah Malik and Shukr Alhamdulillah for all the opportunities given, for the ability given, and it's with absolute gratitude at all times.
Yes.
The opportunity to serve people, the opportunity to do what I have been able to do is with much gratitude, But I've never thought of it like that. I don't understand. It's as a human being, for God's sake, our country, my country, my children, the future of our nation. I don't understand it. How can we sit by? What is more important than educating every child? I learned years ago, each chain is as weak as its weakest link. And when I first started working in the flood area, at that time literacy rates were like 30-40% or whatever. I think government, maybe official numbers were saying 50 or 60. And I said, oh my God, how weak are we all? In the chain, there are so many weak links that we're really, the weakness is right there.
Yeah.
But as humanity, I don't know how to explain that. I don't know, from the core of my heart, I'm very, very sad, heartbroken with every child that we allow to remain illiterate. Honestly, I believe if we do nothing else, just get together, all of us, and ensure that every one of our children gets educated, I promise you, we'll build our own bridges, we'll build our own buildings, we'll build our own factories. A lot of people look for money from abroad to build bridges, to build roads, but all I believe is that if we empower our people, we must ourselves build our country. But we need the empowerment of education to do that. So I sincerely believe that all the problems in Pakistan, every last one, is rooted in illiteracy and the lack of education for the masses.
That is awesome.
For me, it's critical.
Yes. Yeah. So if there was Seema Aziz, who's 20 years old right now, looking for advice and looking for inspiration, or looking for something that you could, if you now could tell yourself when you were 20, or a 20-year-old listening to you, about the journey forward, what would you tell yourself? What notes have you kind of collected as wisdom, and be like, these are 3 pointers that you, or 2 pointers, whatever?
These are all very serious questions.
Are they?
Okay. So nothing, follow your heart, believe in yourself, work really hard. Apparently the world has, believe in yourself.
Yes.
Believe, you have faith in whatever, just go for it. That's it. There's energy and help out there, wherever. But the thing is, so it's, you just have to believe in yourself and look inside, do the right thing. Let me think this one through. You'll have to cut all this out.
No, this is cool. So
No, wait. So one, faith.
Yes.
And see, it's grit. There's many research, much research being done around the world.
Yes.
The best universities in the world. At the end of the day, they said it's grit.
I love that.
It's neither any hormone, no nothing. It's grit.
Yes.
And so it's tenacity. Believe in yourself. Believe in what you're doing. Go for it.
Yes.
Success is going to happen. It works.
That is it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, dude. Slightly overwhelmed. I had goosebumps thrice. Okay. So Thank you so much, man.
Thank
This is really kind of you to share and bring out everything that you did. And like I said, I'm still looking for that internship with you. So okay, guys, this is me signing out from another Fireside at Daftar Khan. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time. And this has been one of the most amazing experiences in terms of listening and learning. Follow your heart, have faith, and do the hard work. That's basically, and resilience, the grit. That's basically what's going to set you free from whatever it is that is holding you back. You guys have a great time doing whatever it is that you're doing, and stay tuned for a lot more at Fireside. Take care. The Office.